Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thanks for being here again with me in this crazy journey. I just wanted to make a quick video. I'm not feeling well, so that's why I look like this and probably sound the way that I do. But I, yesterday, was trying to come up with some content for you guys, and I didn't want to just put up anything, so I was trying to think of some things, and one of my friends gave me a really good idea to make something, some food, because it was raining, and I'm like, the weather, so I was like, that's such a great idea. But if you know me, you know I do not like to cook. I love to eat. I do not like to cook. So I figured, why not bake something? I went on Pinterest, and girls, you'll know what I'm talking about. You can find anything on Pinterest. So I found in my saved desserts, Snicker bars. I had seen on TV on one of these big time baking shows that one of the people on there, they were trying to make Snickers, but it turned out really crappy, and they had to do it like 4 times to make it taste right or something, and I was like, I don't know, but this can make for some funny content. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna try it, and it ended up being really easy, probably because I just used stuff you can get at the grocery store, but that's even better for you guys because that means that you can go and get the ingredients at your local store, and it's really easy to make. And it tastes amazing. And I'm not just saying that to toot my own horn, but toot toot. But I asked people at my work, I asked my students to try it even, and everyone was like, this is better than real Snickers. And I feel like that thing's on my hair or something. They're like, this is better than real Snickers. So I'm confident. I tried it myself, obviously. I think it's great, but I could be biased. I will place the recipe in the description box below so that you guys can go and see it for yourself. If you want to recreate a really, really, really good Snicker bar, I completely recommend it. So here we go.
First thing that you want to do is line a 9x13 pan with foil and spray with non-stick cooking spray, or if you're cheap like me, you just buy the foil pans and wash those suckers because they're dirty. First layer is the chocolate. So what I did is I took chocolate chips and peanut butter and heat it up in a microwavable bowl. I put it in for 20 seconds, and once that was done, I would take it out and I would mix it again just to make sure I didn't overcook it and I had a chance to mix everything together and make sure it was completely melted before moving on, because you really want to make sure that the chocolate looks nice and creamy before putting it out. Offered my friends some because I'm sweet. Just kidding, I'm not. And then once it looks like this, nice and creamy, and all the lumps are out, then you want to go ahead and pour it into your pan. And I was having difficulty here, but that's not very uncommon for me. So my friends helped me out, and I got a spatula to use that worked a lot better. Except in this part, apparently my OCD was at an all-time high, because even with this sped up, it took me forever to get this perfect the way that I wanted, but to each their own. So once that's done, you then want to be able to cool it off. So I just made sure it was ready for the refrigerator before I was happy with it. But then put it in there. You want to let it cool while you start on the rest of the layers. So put it in the refrigerator, found a place for it, and was happy. And of course was eating as usual. Layer 2 is the nougat filling. So for the nougat filling, you want to melt butter in a medium-sized pan over medium heat, add in sugar and milk, and then stir until dissolved. This took 5 minutes, so I had to joke around, and my friends had to distract me because I don't have patience. So that's me trying to not give up on this. Once that's done, you want to add in marshmallow fluff, which was absolutely disgusting, but also absolutely necessary. So I added that in, and then you want to stir that in with some peanut butter and vanilla, which, again, peanut butter, the struggle. It's really difficult to get that in there, but I made it work, and I put them up maybe 3 tablespoons worth of it. Mixed that in, added some vanilla, didn't even know how much to put in. I was just letting things pop all over the place, but it worked. So I mixed that in, and you really want to make sure that it's nice and smooth before laying this out. So I'm just showing you how long this took. I just really want to make sure it was nice and smooth before removing it from the heat, because once you remove it from the heat, you want to immediately get into the peanut part, and you don't want this to get too hard. So you just want to make sure everything's nice and smooth before removing the pan from the heat to add in the peanuts. So that's just me making sure everything's nice and smooth the way the directions told me to do it. And then from here, I went ahead and started with chopping up the peanuts. Now, excuse the mess I'm making. Oop, yeah, yeah, struggle. There we go. So I'm going ahead and I'm chopping this up. Now, I don't think this was part of the recipe or instructions, but I really don't like peanuts. So I wanted to make sure that they were finely chopped up before folding them into the nougat, because I didn't want a mouthful of peanuts. So that's me putting them in. I put them in the nougat filling, and then from here, you want to make sure you fold the peanuts in, because it's just a lot more even when you spread it out, obviously. So that's what I did, and then I went ahead and I folded everything in, and this is going to take me a second because, again, I really don't like peanuts, and I wanted to make sure that this was evenly spread out and it wasn't just a big chunk of peanuts in my Snicker bar. So I really spent a lot of time on this part, as you can see, but it was definitely well worth it, and I was happy with it, so that's what I did. So from here, you want to get the chocolate obviously back out to pour over, and I use the same type of spatula as I did with the chocolate, and I just layer the nougat filling over the chocolate. Now, the hard part about this, I realized very quickly, is that the nougat is warm, so it starts to melt the chocolate, so I had to work really quickly to spread this out and make sure that everything didn't just melt together. And then you put it back in the fridge to cool off for the next layer, layer 3, which is the caramel. This one was probably the easiest, except for this part. It was very tedious. Took us a while. We got the caramel squares and we had to individually unwrap them, which did take a while, but once this part was done and we had them in this small pan to melt, it was really easy to do the rest from here. So once that's done, you take whipping cream and you pour it over the little caramel chunks, and you're going to cook this for 10 to 15 minutes or until smooth. And for me, I think it took closer to 10 minutes. It wasn't that long. Really easy, because all you're doing is this. You're just mixing the whole entire time, making sure that everything is melting together. So this is what it looks like in the beginning, but towards the end, it starts to look like this, and then by the time that you're done, it looks nice and creamy and like a smooth caramel, and it's really, really, really awesome. You want to do this just to make it easier to spread over the nougat filling, so that's what I'm doing here. As you can see, it's really liquidy and really easy to spread, which was really nice. So you just pour it over the nougat. Of course, spread it out, make sure it's even. OCD kicking in, I had to make sure it's perfect, and then put it back in the fridge to cool off for the last layer, which I'm sure you can guess what that is, but this is me just putting it back in the fridge, making sure it's nice and ready to go for layer 4, which again is the chocolate. So chocolate, same exact steps as the first layer of chocolate. You want to just make sure you keep mixing everything together as you take it out of the microwave and then put it back in. I had to do this about 3 times before I felt like it was smooth enough for me to layer on top of the caramel, and so at the end it's going to look nice and creamy. So I got the rest of the Snickers out of the refrigerator, poured the chocolate on top, and as you can see how nice it looks, it was really pretty. But this is me pouring the chocolate on top. Again, because the chocolate is warm, you really want to make sure to work quickly so everything doesn't just melt together. So I made sure that was on there, spread it out as quickly as I could, but still making sure that everything was even. And this is the end result. I really like that it kind of has the ridges the same way that the Snickers bar does, and I thought it was really pretty. Then I put it back in the fridge, and this part You have to put it in there. I was so excited to be done, you guys. You have no idea. But I was saying right now to the camera, put it in there for about 1 to 2 hours. So I let it sit in there for about an hour to an hour and a half. And then we came back out to check on it, pulled it out, and it was beautiful, might I say. Then I tried to cut it. Just a fair warning, it is a little tough to cut because of the filling. It's obviously hardened by this point, but nothing crazy. Just letting you know it's not going to be easy to cut in. It looks a little bit easier because it's me doing this quickly, but yeah. So I wanted to make it look like Snickers. Obviously, you can see here it's a little bit harder to pop out, but it was delicious. Let me tell you. Yes, yes, girl, get that Snickers. Oh my gosh, you guys. I remember. That's what I said. I remember. This was so good. It was so good, you guys. Oh, yes. So anyways, this is what it looked like at the very end. I was just really proud of what I had just made. I'm definitely not a cook or a baker by any means, but this was delicious. So anyways, thanks for watching and talk to you guys soon. Bye.